Sup, Laughley? Sup, Ordinator? Sup, everyone? Good to see you. Yeah, that's right. That's right. A little bit of vibe coding. A little bit of vibe coding, okay? I'm doing some vibe coding. Welcome in, everybody. I appreciate you guys. Let me just get the, use the Python lib. Yeah. Use the damn Python lib. It's true. Hang on. What the heck's going on with my browser? Hang on, folks. Hang on. Import game from AutoGenLib, yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. Done. It's all done. It's all done. We're all done, bros. We're done. It's super done. If I go like, hang on, can I just do, hang on, folks, okay? Just give me a gosh darn minute. Give me a gosh darn minute. Jeepers creepers, you guys. Sheepers, meepers. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm so sorry. There's notifications flying out the... What's up? Travis, what's up, man? I came in just in time. What's up? Welcome in, everybody. I have no code up, but I'm going to have it up in a second. You guys need to wait. Hang on. What's up, everyone? Welcome in. Hello. I was watching Travis before you guys were raided over. Travis, thank you for the raid. I know you typically raid and run because it's late for you. You got stuff to do. Don't worry about it, man. I know you had a good stream because I was there for all of it. I appreciate you popping the raid over. That's greatly appreciated. Go do your thing, brother. Go do your thing. Take off. Welcome in, raiders. Welcome in. I am almost out of coffee. I'm gonna probably take a break in a second and make some coffee. But I'm gonna tell you what the hell we're doing in here. All right. He needs his dingus sleep. He needs his dingus sleep. Yeah. Dingus oriented. Thank you, Travis. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I wanted to get some vibe coding in, and it's not the typical vibe coding. So listen, folks, let me give you the intro. Hopefully some top. Let me give you the intro on what's going on. If you're new to this stream, what we do around here is we go against the grain. Typically what you're told as a default stance by people in the industry or whatever is like influencers like myself and whatnot, is that you have to use a bunch of libraries and frameworks to accomplish anything when it comes, especially to the web. Web being the lowest common denominator of programming. All the most moronic, idiotic ideas come from the web. And then they spread into the back end, and then they spread into hardware, and then we have it all neatly wrapped up in a bow called AI. And we go against that grain. I am a high school dropout. I used to be homeless. I used to live in my car, crash on friends' couches. I used to sleep on park benches, the whole 9 yards. I literally did do that. And I taught myself everything I know about programming. And now I'm here, and what am I building? Well, much like what Travis does with C, I have a single header C file, which is just a header library file. Everything is in here. I compile this puppy using Clang. Literally just Clang targeted to WASM32. That's all I do. And then I run Chrome Canary. And on this Canary version, I've turned off all hardware acceleration. That means I don't use Canvas. I don't use WebGPL. I don't use WebGL. I don't use WebGPU. That's why I confuse these things. I'm talking a little bit fast. Puke7, thank you for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate it. And then I write all of the code that renders the WebAssembly stuff, because obviously we're using WebAssembly. Everything that renders what you're seeing on screen right now is vanilla JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. There are no third-party libraries. I'm barely using the standard library. What am I using on the standard library here? I'm using int def arg bool. That's it. Even for console log, for string formatting, I write my own string formatter in C. And over here, okay, we're a little bit more you could say autistic than what you're typically seeing on Travis's stream, even though Travis is like a gigachad and he just knows his stuff. We've gone down to things like literally using Godbolt to take the difference between a flat array versus a struct to see whether there's an actual performance difference. That's the kind of stuff we're into. And the whole point of my stream is that you can build something that runs a game that is based on this game from the Super Nintendo era, where you had 6 characters, you built a fleet of ships, you traveled the world, you had captains, you had morale, you had ports, you had an economy system that was influenced by piracy factors, nation factors, investment factors. You had to do like an entire merchant system so you could buy low, sell high. You had to make sure you had enough supplies as you sailed. Literally, this was a crazy game for the Super Nintendo on a much more limited set of hardware. We have like 100,000 times that hardware. And what the hell are we building today? We're building the most sloppy ass code that we can possibly think of. And I'm here to prove that that shit is not necessary. And if you go watch my daily tech news streams, every single day I do about an hour-long tech news stream where I cover news articles that exactly provide logical and factual arguments. I go over scientific papers, I go over academic papers, I go over articles on cybersecurity, I go over articles on opinion articles on like whether a particular paradigm is good or bad. I have pulled up Notepad and just coded off the top of my head just to prove a point. The point is that what programmers are being taught today by influencers, other colleagues, managers, executives, it's just all moronic stupidity. We have such insane power at our fingertips. You see what Travis does and the stuff that he can pull off with limited amounts of just C code. I mean, he's just doing it in C. And I'm trying to do it a little bit differently. It's just a little different here. High school homeless dropout here can do this crazy crap. The DOM is not slow. I'm literally just using, here I'll pause it. I'm just using div elements. I will prove it to you right now. And some web components. Okay, let me be fair. Some web components, okay? Vanilla web components. This is just, look at the viewport. It's just a CSS grid. That's all it is. Okay, that's it. It's just a grid running this. And I'm going to blow your minds right now. Before I blow your minds, Puke7, I think I said thank you, but thank you again. Little Sparrow on Twitch, thank you. Nick Deli on Twitch, thank you. Hamlet RPG, thank you. I really appreciate those follows. And Little Sparrow subbing a month on tier 1, I really appreciate that. So just to blow your minds here, what else do I have? And MyOrt TV, thank you. And by the way, I restream this, like I multi-stream, so you can watch this on X, you can watch this on YouTube. I have a live tab on YouTube where you can see all of my past live streams. I have all the daily tech news streams up there, literally an hour plus every day. All of it, it's all there. It's all up there for free. You guys can go catch that at any time, including a year's worth of history building this crap, building it. And I have a Discord. Thank you, Laughly. Okay, let me blow your minds. So, like I said, everything is vanilla. Okay, I hope I'm not being too loud, but I'm having a good time right now, so I'm sorry. But everything is vanilla. No third-party libraries. Despite what you're told, you do not need to always be reaching for the stupid frameworks, libraries, abstractions, ecosystems that you pip install, npm install, whatever. And what do I have on this Canary version where I have hardware acceleration turned off? First of all, just so you can see, I don't know if you can hear, you might not be able to hear my keyboard tapping the buttons, and it might not come through very well on stream, but okay. So we've got movement, we've got a menu system, you can buy and sell stuff. We've got a sailing system, much like the original game. Let me set sail, okay? So you go down, and there's wind factors here. So we take a look at what wind factors are applied to your ship as you sail. It'll slow you down or speed you up depending on the direction. I'm not showing the wind factors here, but all of this stuff has an impact on the game. However, that's not the mind-blowing part. The mind-blowing part is 3D. If I'm not using Canvas, WebGL, or WebGPU, and I'm just using strict WebAssembly, how am I doing 3D? How am I doing it? Can anyone guess how I'm doing 3D? Any guesses? From the new streamer, from the new viewers, I mean? How am I doing 3D? Huh. The answer will shock you. The answer will shock you. Are you ready to see it? 3D glasses. Which we leave tonight says, yeah, Ghost says Unreal Engine. What's up, Ghost? Good to see you. What's up, Little Sparrow? Good to see you. By the way, good to see everybody. Good to see all the raiders who are coming in. I appreciate it. How am I doing 3D? I'll just prove to you that I am doing 3D, all right? I'm doing 3D. Now, this isn't optimized. I'm doing a really stupid, like, caveman stuff code here. But, yeah. This is 3D. How am I doing 3D? Is the Discord link expired? I hope not. It shouldn't be. It should be static. Yeah, it should be a static link. I think I set it as a hard link. If it is, let me know, and I'll get you an updated link. But I've had some people join as early as yesterday, so hopefully it's updated. So just in case you don't know, just in case nobody has the answer, because it doesn't seem like anyone has the answer. CSS. Vanilla CSS. Yes, that's right. I'm just applying CSS 3D transforms. Vanilla. That's all I'm doing. That's it. You can see it right here. That's all I'm doing. Yep. And did that work? Okay, thanks. Laugh. I might have to update the link. I'll set a reminder for myself to do that. So not only do I have a single file C header library that I compile with just a simple Clang CLI style, it's just a shell script that compiles it, but I also, as a result of this, can embed the entire WASM game state, because the game state is really just WebAssembly. WebAssembly is just a bunch of, I use it as just a bunch of inputs and outputs for numbers, no strings. So that I don't have to do like the weird mscript glue stuff, which is just extra bloat and overhead, mostly related to getting strings working. So I don't care about that. I just literally take the entire game state and treat it as a grid of layers, which you just pierce through each layer until you get to the XY coordinate, and everything lives in a particular XY coordinate at a given layer. And the number represents something to me. In this case, on the browser, it represents this character or this house or whatever it is. And then I can take exactly the same C code, compile it, or keep it the same, exactly the same, just compile it for anything else or keep it as WASM and change my rendering mechanism. And I kid you not, boys, gentlemen, you will see the creation of this game, the recreation of this game, once I have this done in Kohi. It's happening. So I will take literally this entire game state, and since you're coming from Travis's stream, we will recreate the game in Kohi with a 3D rendered version. And that's the portability aspect of WASM. However, just one final thing about this game. I embed everything into a single HTML file when I so choose. I have a bunch of embed C files here that run as executables, and they will take the WASM and the atlas for all the assets, and they will embed it into a single HTML file, which means that the only requirement for me to ship you this game in full for the single player version is one HTML file. It includes all the assets, the WASM, which is sometimes converted to an array of U8s, which is eaten up by the browser, or in some cases base64 encoded. Yes, that does take a size hit, but it means that I can ship it to you in one file. It also includes all the Atlas resources. It will include all the music resources, and then every other piece of functionality that comes out of the box with browser specs like gamepad controls, audio controls, video controls, all that stuff. That's it. So we're doing this in hard mode. It's hard mode. But the point is that we're doing it because if I can do it, you can do it. And if we can build a game like this that has a complicated set of mechanisms that require immediate interaction running all at the same time, then the absolutely idiotic mechanisms that people do with websites are not needed. Thank you, Outdated Version, for the most part. Thank you, Outdated Version, for the follow. I appreciate it. You are a salesman on the same level as you are a programmer. Sounds hype. Yeah, Mayor. It might be hype. It might be. Yes, I will be the first to tell you that I am pretty stupid. I am actually pretty stupid. But sometimes that can be a benefit, because it can often lead to you doing things in the most simplest manner, coming up with the most simplest solutions to stuff that is commonly overcomplicated. That is one of the messages that I tell programmers who watch this stream to let's say, do away with. And the message is, you are too stupid to deal with your own paradigms. Why would you reinvent the wheel and recreate something that someone else has already solved for you in a much better fashion, in a much better way? It's already a solved problem. Everybody's using it. Just use this thing, bro. Why would you want to deal with this yourself? The problem is that we've gone too far in that direction. There's nothing wrong with that argument in and of itself. But when you take that argument to its extreme, which I argue that we have, what it means is that programmers no longer know how to invent anything anymore, and they're wholly dependent on paradigms and abstractions, to the point where I know programmers, or I have known programmers, who don't know how to use HTML even though they know React. That's the real problem. And what it's really telling you, without explicitly telling you, is that you're too stupid to understand what's going on. Just follow this checklist of npm install or composer install or whatever, pip install or whatever, and you're going to be just fine. As long as you just do that, then you're going to be fine. Why would you bother dealing with anything yourself? You don't have the brain power to do it. Someone much smarter than you has already figured it out. And take it from me, because I'm a tech influencer on YouTube or Twitch or whatever, and I have thousands of viewers and whatever. I don't. I'm just speaking on behalf of other people who have, I have no basis upon which to do so, but I'm going to do it anyways. Just take it from me. This is what you should be doing. And it's caused harm. And then people like Travis, and there are others. There are, like Soding, for example, he gets the views he deserves, but he deserves more. People like Travis deserve more. There are others who deserve more attention. They don't get the attention they deserve, because instead they get essentially drowned out by idiotic pitches. So I'm here to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. We have a lot of difficult constraints So there's a whole to-do list. So I thought I'd just spend an hour or two tonight just kind of having a chill vibe stream, cleaning up some of the C code and some of the JavaScript code on some of these to-do items. With some of the restrictions we have are on the C side, we can only use flat arrays, which are essentially which just end up being arena allocators. It's just a flat array of short life cycle arena allocators. That's all it is. Structs take the place of flat arrays in some cases. We're trying to be strict about the efficiency of structs versus arrays. The efficiency is almost like non-existent. I would say there's very few cases where a struct has more overhead than an array, especially if we're doing things like packing the bits. If you don't know what that is, I encourage you to look that up. These are all pretty basic concepts. And it's not like, it genuinely isn't like I'm a particularly, some genius level programmer. I'm really not. It's just stuff that I've looked up on my own and I've taken the time to try out and do it on stream. So those are just some of the restrictions. And having a single header file, I mean, that's tough because it's hard to keep all the functions in line. And you'll note that I don't have any syntax highlighting and I don't have any color schemes. That's just a personal thing. Autocomplete stuff, syntax highlighting stuff, it breaks my brain. I can't keep track of the colors. I need a single color. I can't read stuff when there's a bunch of colors in my face. I can't do it. It's super distracting for me. So this is just kind of like how I go. There's no AI. There's no vibe coding, like actual vibe coding by the terms that people mostly use it for. So that's it. That's the intro. Welcome to the long intro for all the raiders from Travis. Thank you again for all the follows and the sub from Little Sparrow. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. And hopefully, if you're not impressed by what I'm doing here, you'll at least get some benefit out of the daily tech news streams. Hopefully that will at least be beneficial. I try and cover a bunch of different topics, and the reason being that I just want to inform programmers like yourselves with actual arguments that are based on logic, not on subjective facts, and on actual data on things that we should be avoiding doing. I think we could make a positive change in this industry. I often gripe about the state of the industry that we're in. So, yeah. Anyway, okay. That's it. That's my intro. Let's get to it. You sold me on no AI. The rest is just awesome. Thanks, Lil Swear. I appreciate that. No AI. We don't do AI here. I've literally gone over studies proving that when you use AI, in particular for coding, but in other things like textile manufacturing, spell checking, I think in some educational aspects, I have daily tech news streams and enlightened programming streams on the live tab of my YouTube, where I go over these studies and these arguments. It atrophies your brain. It makes it so that you cannot think about what you're doing as you continue to jump back into programming. And that's fundamentally, it goes against the nature of what we're supposed to do, what we're paid to do as programmers. So, it's, I don't like it. I don't think it creates very many benefits, if any at all. Okay, now, Hamlet RPG, I agree. Turning your brain off is not healthy. Yes. What's up, Chris? If you don't leverage AI, not going to make it. Yeah, that's what I keep hearing. That's what everybody says. Yeah, it's AI is basically just Jehovah's Witnesses on speed. And I know because I used to be one. I had to escape that cult. I used to go to your doors on weekends and tell you that if you're not going to become a Jehovah's Witness, you're not going to make it. I literally used to do that because God will destroy you in Armageddon. That's what AI is. That's what a lot of these other frameworks and libraries and abstractions are. Use this or you're not going to make it. That's all it is. It's just cult-like mentality all over again. Just against that, and I don't think it's necessary. So, okay, let's look at some of the to-do items, and we'll pick one or two, and we'll just see if we can just kind of chill out and get through some of the C and JS code, and I'll try and explain some stuff along the way. So hopefully it's somewhat educational, I hope. Let me see. Okay, we do have an ocean battle thing here. Now, what typically happens in an ocean battle, I'll show you what the ocean battle's like. So, hang on. So, as you're sailing around, let's go sail around. I think it's this one. Yeah. As you sail around, you will see that there's me, which I'm doing like some spastic moving right now. And then there's a ship right next to me. Now in the original game, what you can do is you can go up to the ship, like right next to it, or you can just go over top of the ship. Oh, so I went into a different port, and you can initiate a battle. That's piracy. So if you go and look at the details of a ship, then you'll see something like, let's see if I can give you an example here. It would be something like this. Let me open the image in a tab. So it might be hard to see, but you would see something along this line where the ship right next to, or the fleet right next to you has a bunch of other ships of different kinds. You can't really tell like if they're holding any particular cargo because it's like based on some semblance of realism, but you can see who the captain is and maybe which nation they hail from, or if they're a pirate or things like that. And then you can choose to attack them. So I have an NPC here, and it just auto initiates a fake battle in order to debug, to test and debug the ocean battles in our code. Now, I have an enemy ship here, and I have my ship here, and you can do things like move the ship a particular set of spaces based on the composure of your ship, like what kind of wood is it made out of, how many crew members do you have, what kind of sails do you have, how much cargo are you carrying, etc., the morale of your fleet, etc. But for now, these things are pretty standardized until we get into the nitty-gritty. And I just shot a cannon, and I magically one-shotted this ship, I mean. So that's great. So I can fire a cannon, and I can also go up alongside it and board it and do like a man-to-man attack. But this is the part that I think maybe we should work on today just a little bit. Since I one-shotted the ship, because I mean, come on, that's just how I roll. When I click end turn here, that's the victory, and it looks absolutely terrible. This is the victory conditions. It looks so bad. It's really, really bad. But there's a number of things you can do. If you have captains who are not currently captains of any ship in your fleet, then you can make them captains of some of the ships that you just destroyed, that are part of the fleet you just destroyed. So you can take over ships and assign your own captains to them. You get a specific amount of gold per victory. You can take cargo from the other fleet. So if they're like sailing around with a bunch of gold, you can just take that. Or you can take food, lumber, or gunpowder. And water. I suppose water is another one that we need. And you can do cargo transfers. I remember that in the original game. If you wanted to dump some cargo on the fleet you just defeated, you can dump it onto their cargo. So you can make space in your cargo, in your fleet, to take stuff from them. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so first of all, do I have... The simplest one is just a standard... I wonder... There we go. Okay. When there's a victory condition, we call this Ocean Battle Victory. Deterministic amount of gold. Take the gold from the captain of the fleet. Oh, I see. So So instead of just giving you $3,500 every time, we check who the captain of the fleet is, and then we take their gold. I do know that you can get, I think I have a function here for getting the fleet captain or captain ID from a fleet. It's a, yeah, so if I get the fleet, I have functions to get the fleet, and then I just call captain ID. So I could do that. Let's keep it simple. We're going to keep it at 3,500. And then we'll expand on that later. Chalk Code, thank you for the follow on Twitch just now. I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it. What else do we have? Oh, we have allied fleets. That's right. If you're aligned with a nation like Britain or something, and you're floating around and you go and attack a ship, and it just so happens that you have another fleet right next to you that's also from Britain, they sometimes join the battle. So you can have two fleets. I don't think I'm ready for that. I'm not ready to handle that. Yeah, I'm not ready to handle that. So I'm going to skip that part because I need to have multiple fleets running, and I don't even have that. I'm not ready. You always get some gold for beating a fleet. So I'm going to expand on this. 3,500 default for now. Expand to take captains. No, take fleet captains gold. Okay, so we'll do that in the future. Now, enemy fleet ships available for putting in your own fleet, but only if you have a free captain. I need to have more captains. So I would have to go over to my game code here, and when I do initialize game, right here, I set a whole bunch of stuff. I create all my goods that you can trade with, all the ports, the materials for ship. Yeah, for ships, for cannons, for figureheads. Somewhere in here, I set up a fleet, and I add a captain. Okay, so these are the captains. Yep. Where are my fleets? Where's my fleet, bro? Do the captains have their own fleets and I'm too brain dead to know? Let me go look at some of the other initialization functions. It's been a while since I've looked at this. Okay, here we go. Okay, yes. Initialize captain. That's what it was. When I initialize a captain, I give him his own fleet. That's what I do. Yep. Okay, no problem. We all do that thing where you refuse to stop searching, but you search. I know. I was trying to recall it from memory because laughably, I'm trying to use my brain. Okay? Search is a crutch for brain power. Have you learned nothing from being on this stream? Don't use crutches. Use your brain power. Go straight off memory. Okay, so each captain gets their own fleet, which means that technically speaking, memorize the line numbers. How many lines do I have here? Currently at 7,517 lines. I'll memorize them all. I was at like 4,800 something here. So if each captain has their own fleet, then that means when I hit the condition here, then I can just look at the fleet of the I can look at the fleet that I destroyed and see what ships they have and bring them over, but I have to have captains available. So I would have to create another captain and add him to my fleet. So how would I do that? Let's have a look at that because we have to do that anyways. might as well have a look into that. It's part of single player and it's going to be part of multiplayer. And Hamlet, yeah, one header file for the win. One of the reasons why I did one header file is because in multiplayer mode, it actually makes it easier. So one of the things I did, I don't think I have the code for this on this version here, but I had a... do I have it here? I don't think I do. Discord bot. No, I don't have it here. I had a server written in C. It was just a simple server. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here it is. Right here. So I have a bun server. That was one of the iterations that we did multiplayer. And what I do is I use bun, and bun has a built-in TinyCC compiler. And I literally take the single header file and I map the functions that are available in that single header file, bun server C here, into the bun server, wasmh, which is exactly what we're working on right here with all this captain stuff that we're trying to figure out. And then I just run a portable bun multiplayer server, and now my bun server can open up WebSockets or whatever kind of sockets I want. People can join in on the server, and then it will just maintain an authoritative state based on the exact same WASM code that you run on your browser. And then it just ships everybody an updated state that just feeds into your WASM state. And then your JavaScript reads your own WASM state, which comes from the authoritative server, and everyone stays up to date and takes their turns and whatnot. So that's one of the reasons I did it. But I also have this server that I wrote in C so that I didn't have to use bun. So I literally wrote my own server. I maintain my own DB file. There's no like SQLite or anything. I'm literally just maintaining my own DB file here as a flat array. I have like a key-based mechanism where you have a key, generates a key. It's tied into the Discord server. It's not running right now, but when it does run, you'd go to a special channel in our Discord. You'd get a key, and then you go to a URL, plug in your key, and it would let you join the game. And then the C server would just use the exact same header file to run the game state, just like the bun server did. I mean, you know, yeah. A dumb question maybe, why is there so little code formatting? Because I hate code formatting. It's just me. It's just a personal thing. I don't particularly have anything against code formatting. I just stick to basics. I don't like having a color scheme. I don't like having autocomplete stuff. I don't like having LSPs. Just keep it simple. I like 4 spaces. It's just my own personal... Yeah, it's just my preference. That's it. That's all. When it comes to my preference, those are not things that I would prescribe people to do. When it comes to arguments like the reason why programmers have forgotten how to write good code and all we have is slop, that comes from an actual arguments based on data. That's why I go over the daily tech news stream and I go over academic stuff and I encourage people to use less AI or hopefully no AI for coding. That would be my ideal scenario. And then I provide arguments why I make that prescription, right? So that comes from a different place than the preferential, I just don't like the LSPs and the colors and stuff. It just hurts my brain. But I completely understand. And people make the same, they ask the same question like NeoVim. There you go. Chris talks about NeoVim, right? It's my personal preference. That's all. I just can't use NeoVim. It breaks for me it breaks often for me. Almost every time I did an update the last year on NeoVim, it broke. Sublime never breaks for me. I'm comfortable in it. That's all, right? It's just a personal preference. But if you're a person who uses NeoVim or Vim in general, and you like the Vim key bindings and it makes you blazingly fast, so to speak, as as a programmer, great, do that. That's great. I don't have an issue there. Yeah, the AutoGen lib. Yeah, Hamlet, go check that out. And hopefully, Chris, the my preference thing is the reason why. Yeah, this is the answer to your question. But your personal preference is different than mine. Unsubbed. I know, Little Sparrow. I know. It's too late. You gave me your sub. It's too late. No backsies. I got your money. All right. So let's go have a look here. So what I would like to do is I would like to take the fleet. I have a data here, a data attribute, data fleet. If I could spell. Let's go see what this struct is like. So that's data fleet captain. So each captain, okay, so this is good. Each captain that I create is going to have their own fleet. What I need to do is I need to take a captain and assign them potentially to my fleet ID. Let's go up to, that's for ships. This is the fleet. Okay. Here we go. This is it. Okay, so it's a cross-reference. That's what I've done here. I've cross-referenced. So I have a fleet struct, and then I have a captain struct. The fleet struct contains an array of captain IDs which come from the captain struct. A captain retains a reference to a fleet ID which comes from this storage. Each captain ID comes from the data fleet, which comes from the captain fleet data thing, which is its own storage. That's what I've done. So I can just create a new captain and just add it to data fleet and then provide a fleet ID. Data fleet captain right here. All right, so let me go look at initialize game. We're just going to create. It's been a while since I've worked on this code because I do the. It's tough. I'm like, the Daily Tech News Stream is like a full-time job, and then I have a contract job, and then I'm looking for more work because it's tough out there, and it takes up a lot of my time. So I haven't had time to jump back into this code. Okay, so I probably want to put it right here, which means I need to create a new NPC. All right, now we're entering the chain of things we've got to create. Okay, so we got to create an NPC. We have to create a base NPC based on other NPCs, and then we gotta, yeah, okay. So initialize NPC. Humans. Maybe we'll just use human. I mean, we're doing that for every other captain, so what the hell. So we'll go initialize captain, and we're gonna go NPC NPC player. No, you know what? Let's, in honor of Little Sparrow, okay? NPC Little Sparrow. It's going to be type human, and they're going to have an inventory of NPC Little Sparrow. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck are these cap locked things? These are enums. How am I using the enums? Well, let's go take this one step at a time. I have to build this out anyway, so I will explain as best as I can while I have to build this out anyway. So let's take the NPC Travis enum for all the people who came in from Travis's raid. We'll go back up to here, right here. So this is one big enum. It's called game strings. And you'll note that I have a bunch of enumeration identifiers here. And what do enums do under the hood? Does anybody know? I'll just, I'll add in NPC Sparrow, and then I'll add in inventory. Where's my, here we'll go, inventory NPC here. We'll just go inventory NPC Little Sparrow, like that. And then let's just make sure that we've got this all covered. NPC type human, okay. And then let's go have a look at the initialized captain. Captain Jack Sparrow. Yes, that's right. So an enumeration in C is literally just a named, essentially integer value. That's essentially what it is. It's just a named integer value, sometimes scoped to a parent name, like in our example, game strings, right? And so this will be 0, empty will be 0, that's why it's called empty. Then you'll have action equals 1, action confirm equals 2, and so on and so forth. And you just continue going on and on and on. Now, why do I have a big list of enumerations? This is how I identify the number values that come out of my WASM and what they mean in JavaScript. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't that mean that you have to retain 2 different lists? Because then on JavaScript, you'd have to know what number means what. But you see, you, young Padawan, have not been here on the stream long enough. I've already got that covered. Laughly says, I just noticed packed structs. Is that because of WASM? No, I did that on purpose because if you remember when we were doing the Godbolt stuff, the way that you order the types inside of your struct can create padding or more padding around the values in the underlying, like the underlying memory values than you might want. And because we're trying to maximize efficiency in every possible way here, even if it might be crazy, we decided to go with packed structs, particularly because we have the advantage of only caring about, only worrying about one type of integer value, int32. We might go to int64 later when WASM gets up there. We might even downgrade, actually, because 32 is actually a lot of space that we don't need for this game. But everything is an int32, so we can just force it to be packed. Now, I know it's not a necessary thing because the compiler will do a lot of that stuff for you, and it will align there you go, paddings for alignment, which is better for accesses. Yeah, so I know the compiler handles a lot of that for you, but that's stuff that we tackled during the Godbolt comparison of structs versus flat arrays, and then I used it and I never went back to it to change it at all. I'm not even sure that it really needs to be changed, but maybe. It's for better access. So it's a trade-off for size and speed. Yes, it is a trade-off of size and speed. And I am a little bit worried that the size of this thing is going to get a little bit big. It's really easy to change later. I'm really not worried about it. You literally just remove the packed. That's it. You move the packed instruction and you're back to speed, essentially, or whatever. Less size, more speed, or whatever the inverse is. I have that wrong. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong. So I'm not exactly worried about it right now. It's something we can remove in the future. But you can see that all we do is 32. So no, I don't derail me, Laugh. Okay, don't derail me. You almost nerd snipe me. You're not going to nerd snipe me, okay? It's not going to happen. All right, so the enumerations give me integer values that I can then reference on my JavaScript. How do I reference that in my JavaScript? Well, I have this fancy little thing in C, okay? Because Laugh almost derailed the entire stream. It's called the enum extractor. It's a C executable, and it takes all my enumerations from the game strings enumeration scope, and it automatically generates for me a JavaScript file that contains all the enumerations and their values. So I just do it as part of my shell script compilation. So as an example, where is it? Where the heck is it? I have forgotten where it is. Let's look at this here. There's the game strings, yeah, yada yada. Where do I have my file? My file name is somewhere in here. Game strings. There you go. right here. That's it. It generates for me a JavaScript file where all my enumerations are automatically updated on every compilation of the single header file. The single header file for the WASM stuff. And then all I have to do is go over here, and when I want to know what the value is of, let's say, a particular enumeration, or I want to confirm that the action is sell, then all I have to do is go actually no, it's index of 4. So anytime that I need to check what the value 4 is when it comes out of WebAssembly, action cell. Anytime that I want to check what action cell is when I want to go back into WebAssembly, 4. And then I get to keep a consistent set of enumeration values in my C code as well. And every time that I do a compilation, it just allows me to have seamless numerical communication that is really, really, really straightforward. And yes, it's Grug. It's ultimate Grug. I wrote my own preprocessor for this purpose alone. It's 132 some odd lines of C code to ensure that I have consistency in my inputs and outputs between WebAssembly and JavaScript. So then I can make calls to WebAssembly functions here, and I can pass in like wasm.exports.sum wasm function, and then if I want to pass in a particular enumeration ID, I just go gamestrings.index of action cell, right? This won't work because it doesn't exist, but you get the point, right? So it completely eliminates the need for me to do mscripting. I don't have the requirement to have any third-party library. I am in full control of everything that I'm doing. Is this more quote-unquote difficult? Yeah, sure. You could make that argument. But I am a high school dropout. I'm a high school dropout, self-taught. It's not that hard, guys. It's not. It really is not that hard. I know that everybody is made to believe that this stuff is hard. It's not. It really is not that hard. You just have to put your brain to good use for a little bit. So now that I have that initialized captain here, well, hey, Mist, good to see you. That's what she said. I know. It's not that hard. It's easier than a bunch of OOP inheritance crap. Yeah, it absolutely is. I agree. And by the way, my embed, so just so you know what I do with my embed thing here, since very briefly we're on that topic, I take the output of my WASM file, this .wasm file, and I have an embed U8 and a base 64 embed, and these two options, I get to choose which option it is. I literally convert the WASM file into an array of U8 integers or a base 64 encoded string. And then what I can do is in my load function here, you can see that I can just embed a variable with that base 64 string or that U8 array. I wonder if I have a copy of the U8 array here. I'm not sure that I do. Yeah, well, here we go. This is the WASM file as base 64, and this is the WASM file as U8. And so that's all it is. And I can just read this, and my entire WebAssembly file can then be embedded as a variable inside the HTML file, which thus makes my single HTML file procedure completely feasible. So that's all also C code, preprocessor code that I've handwritten myself to do that. And I just get to pick and choose which one I want to use. So yeah, that's it. It'd be nice if you tidied up the declaration stuff for the captains. Might actually be a justifiable place to use a macro. Help me out, Laugh. What do you mean? Just expand on that while I look at the captain function here. I'm just going to talk about the captain function briefly because I'm not entirely sure what you mean. So when I initialize a captain, I do give the captain a fleet. I suppose what I need to do is I need to have an initialized captain without giving them a fleet. Like this, it adds a captain to the storage and then it initializes a fleet. But I don't want to initialize a fleet. I just want to add a captain to an existing fleet. I could branch this. I could do something like, what could I do? I guess I could copy what I do in Blackbeard here, but do it up front. That's really yucky, but okay, let's pseudocode it out for a second. Let's say that I went if name ID is equal to captain, and it would be, well, no, NPC, NPC Little Sparrow. That would be the name, right? And so here we'd go, do not initialize fleet, add to player one's fleet. So maybe I need to break this out into two functions. Otherwise, this kind of gets weird, having to branch this out, and then I would have to do like an early return so that the rest of this didn't actually run. Okay, so Laughly says like you had to add the captain, add the ship, add the inventory. There's a lot of stuff to remember. A way to group all that together would have less mental overhead when you want to add stuff. You could use a function, but if you're trying to be extreme and reduce overhead, a macro would do it. Then again, it'll probably get inlined. I suspect my functions are simple enough that they should get inlined. Like if you look at something like this, maybe this one won't get inlined because it's one of the few places I'm actually using a pointer. Although that should still get inlined by the compiler. A lot of this should. And even this initialize captain function, it's a function that encapsulates pretty much all of the well, not all. You're right. There are some things missing. I mean, it does initialize. No, it initializes an inventory. It initializes a fleet. I guess I could expand this function and do something like actually create the inventory and then also initialize it against the captain. I think I see where you're going with that. The other thing is, I need to make sure that I have enough functions that are exposed publicly so that when I'm doing multiplayer mode, the server can call very specific functions to do very specific updates. That's one of the reasons why I do that. So I kind of need both, right? I kind of need like the smaller functions and then the composite functions. Hey, Hamlet. Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for popping in. I appreciate it. And again, I appreciate the raid from Travis. Mifarid, thank you for the follow on Twitch a couple of minutes ago. I appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. So because I want the more specific function so that the server, when I want to go multiplayer mode, has like very what would you say, fine-grained functions that it can tell the clients to do, I think I can still have my cake and eat it too. The functions that I'm using here are straightforward enough that I think a lot of them should get inlined. Maybe over like 95% of them should get inlined. They're not very complicated. There are probably one or two I can think of that might not get inlined, but a lot of these should. And then what I can do is I can make a composite of smaller functions with some of the bigger functions to reduce that cognitive load where I have to do a whole bunch of this stuff. I think there's a way to have the cake and eat it too. And this is one of those circumstances where the initialize captain function might need to be broken out a bit. Because I'm already starting to chain out. And I think this is the reason why I did Blackbeard here, is I knew that there were going to be circumstances where initialize captain was not going to follow a deterministic set of steps that needed to be done. So I started to break it out. So I think this might be a good time to just slowly break this out. So since we're just chill coding, might as well do it. Inlining is not always good. Ghost, expand on that. And I'm asking that question again out of ignorance. I genuinely don't know enough about this stuff. There's a lot of this stuff. I'm not Travis. So this stuff is not top of mind. I'm learning as I go on a lot of this. You should inline only hot path. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because you might inline a path that does not get executed very often, right? So if you have a series of if statements or a switch case or something, but one switch case, one portion of that switch case or one if statement runs over 90% of the time that the entire series runs, that's the one you want to inline so that it's the fastest. I see. So I suppose that I think that's okay though, because the compiler will still make a determination on functions that get used the most and then inline those functions. And I would still argue that most of my functions are so simple and straightforward that whichever ones it determines are on that hot path will probably get inlined. I think it's okay. I can only reason about that sort of stuff so much, though. True, but there's a helping hand, right? So look at the tick. Look at the tick function. The tick function is probably the most used function in the entire game because it runs, I want to say, every frame. So JavaScript will do the request animation frame on the browser. So it'll just do try and keep it at 30 to 60 FPS. And then it will, on top of that, on top of doing animations and whatnot, it'll call the tick function here. The compiler doesn't know that the tick function, though. I'm just realizing this. The compiler doesn't actually know that the tick function gets called this way, because it's strictly focused on the WebAssembly side of things. It doesn't understand that JavaScript is calling it every time. So how is it gonna know to inline it? Which is why we're able to override, give it hints. Right. Instead of, I think, and probably, is it something you can verify by checking the compiled assembly? Can I? The best way that I would think of to do it would be to go to Godbolt and determine whether that's a profiling thing. That's what I was kind of thinking, because I don't think there's a way to determine here. Let's see, include tidy. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to determine here whether or not control flow graph. No. Well, maybe. Actually, I don't know about that. I don't think the control flow graph would do it. Stack usage probably won't do it. Yeah, you'd probably have to profile it. Which functions get used the most, and then like Laughly said, you probably have to give it hints on which of the functions take hang on. Let me see here. No, I don't have it in the right screen. Hang on, let me close that. I'll do it here. Clang inline. Sure, Clang inlining. So you can probably, oh geez, flashbang. I'm pretty sure there's like a way to tell Clang to inline particular functions. And for example, I know for a fact that the tick function is needs to be inlined. It's going to be the most called function in the entire game. Let's see what Stack Overflow. Is it this? Inline. Here we go. It's just the inline attribute. That's it. That's all we want. That's exactly it. So you know what? Let's give this a shot. If I go inline void tick, and then I guess I don't have terminal popped up, huh? Let me pop that up. I'll check that in a sec, Laugh. Yeah. You won't see this at Godbolt. You won't see what at Godbolt, Doc? The inline path. Let me go over here. Let's see if this compiles. Oh right. I didn't finish my stupid Hey, it compiled the actual inline mechanism. Okay, that makes sense. Spall. Yeah, you did. You caused an error. Damn it. Damn it, little sparrow. Let's see. Okay. Okay, this is cool. Yes. This is kind of the stuff you'd want to see. Premature optimizations happening now. Well, I don't even think it's premature because like I said, if I'm just inlining tick, this is actually this is you know what? I'm just going to be straight up with all you crazy folks out there. This isn't very much in line with the principle of this stream. Instead of taking it upon assumption, exactly like Ordinator called me out on, instead of saying I think and probably, use your brain and determine why you would want to use inline and where, and if there's a way to a kind of hint on inline that if you can hint inline on the appropriate types of functions that you know should be inlined, right? So this is good. This is very much in line with that, where you try and think about what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and how to do it. So this makes sense to me. It's not even getting called in C, is it? Don't inline tick. It's not getting called in C. It is getting called in C. Absolutely. JavaScript calls this all the time. Right. Okay, so Doc is right. You can't directly control inlining, but you can hint it. And hinting it will at least help to determine that like something probably should be inlined. That function is too big? Really? You think so? Oh yeah. I mean there is a big loop here, isn't there? We literally go over all the world NPCs. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Yeah, this isn't a good one to inline. We're going through all the world NPCs. Well, when do we do that though? No, yeah, we're doing that during sailing. That definitely won't get inlined. These aren't doing anything. This generates a world, but only once. This just updates a timer. So it's really sailing that's the worst part. Yeah, I don't know. Inlining that is silly. Yeah, if it's not called by other C code, it's pointless. Definitely won't be inline. Inline your tight loop calls. Okay, let's my tight loop calls. I'm trying to think. And later, because now code can change a lot. Yes. I'm trying to think if I even have one that's like, I mean, get player in world is probably called quite a bit. Yeah, that gets called quite a bit. That could be one. I'm just curious if it even does it. I mean, it does do it. And then I'm curious if it breaks anything, because this is one thing I've discovered with WebAssembly and JavaScript. You'll do something simple like an inlining, of something or whatever, and it'll just break the like JavaScript will just freak out. No, everything looks fine. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm gonna leave it there. No, I'm gonna take it out, and then what I'll do is down here I have a whole bunch of like well, no, I'll put it up here. Future. Consider inline. Whoops, that was bad. Inline function calls. So I'll put it there. Okay. I assume not inlining will be the performance bottleneck. Before that, you should make thorough benchmarks. Yeah, Doc, I think you're probably right. Yeah, because I'm not even sure. This is kind of a weird place to be, because you could normally take a C file and you could determine which functions are going to run the most and are going to be heavy on usage or whatever, hot paths. But this isn't exactly the same, is it? Because you're compiling the entire set of C code into WebAssembly, which gets put into like a memory block essentially with like a mapping, like a jump table, and wrapped around JavaScript, and then that gets executed. And so like the compiler can't really know, unless you guys are right, unless you're talking about like stuff that's internally referenced a bunch. So you're right. It's probably too early to tell, but maybe for some things, but in any case, okay, let's go back. Let's go back to Little Sparrow here. Okay, so what I was trying to do here was branch out. If Little Sparrow is going to be a captain, I want Little Sparrow to be a captain of my fleet, which means that I need to take the player one fleet and add the captain to it. So if I want to keep this simple, I actually only need to do an early return. I think that's it. Just an early return, and then I return the captain ID right here. That's all I need to do. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Yes. Yes, it is a matter of when. Okay, so I return the captain ID that I generate as part of my initialized captain. So now I can go down to NPC Little Sparrow, and I have Little Sparrow initialized. And what I would want to do is take the captain ID and make them make the fleet ID the same fleet ID as the. So we'll just do it down here as part of. You know what? We'll do it as part of our test function. So NPC little arrow dot fleet ID should be player one dot fleet ID, and then we're gonna have to go. Oh, come on. Player fleet, right? So get player one fleet, whatever this is. We'll figure this out. And then we have to go player one fleet, captain IDs, and then we just like add NPC Little Sparrow captain ID, essentially. More or less. We're just pseudo-coding this out. So the first thing I want to do is, can I get player one? Get player fleet ID. Perfect. I already have a function. Get player gold. Okay, let's see if I have like any specific ones. No, not up here. No, no, no. I doubt I have any up here. Nope, don't have anything like that. Okay, perfect. So get player in fleet ID is what we want. Oh no, get player fleet ID, I mean. So we're going to go to the void test function, and then we're going to go player fleet ID is this guy, and player 1 is always 0. Now, the player fleet ID, what we can do is go we want to get the captain. There's a way to look this up. Storage captain 0. Let's go look up how we find storage by name ID. Here we go. That's what it is. So there's a macro for this. I forgot I had a macro for this. Man, I thought ahead, didn't I? There we go. So find storage captain by name ID. This is what we want here. And then we'll pass the name ID. And that will give us the storage, right? I better make sure I get this right. Data captain, assign storage captain, add storage function. Yeah, okay, so I'm pretty sure this is what I want then. And so then what I will do is the captain ID will always just be, that's right, it will always just be this ID. Okay, so we can do that. Find storage captain by name ID, and it's going to be NPC Little Sparrow. And the captain, well, actually this should be, first of all, I spelled this wrong. Let me make sure that it returns the right data that I'm looking for. So it's literally going to return the storage value. So it would have to be storage captain. Okay, I see. There's probably a better way that I have of doing this, but no, that's it. That is it. Okay, so I'm using it elsewhere, so I must be using it. Okay, perfect. Good. Then it's what I need. So that's the captain ID. And so then now we have a way to add the captain, add NPC Little Sparrow as a captain to the player. And then we need to get the fleet of player 1. So I have a few get fleet functions, but let's just have a look at get player. No, not that. Fleet ship ID. Nope, it's not any of these. Wait. That's the initialization of the fleet. Yep. Get player fleet ID. But that's what I'm using though. Okay. So then, oh, I see. So then all I really need to do then is just reference the fleet ID against data fleet. Okay. Yeah. So it'd be something like player fleet ID, like that. Okay. And then what I can do is I can probably make a helper function to make this better, but So we now have the player fleet. So we could literally go something like player fleet dot captain IDs, and then we can add one, whatever the captain ID count is. There's a way to determine that. I have that figured out already, and we would just go captain ID, which is Little Sparrow. So maybe we could make this a bit more descriptive, like that. So now then Little Sparrow will become a captain of my fleet. So I just need to go look at what is the identifier that I'm using to track how many captains I have in my fleet. I don't have a tracker. So for now, I'm going to say 1. Track how many captains you have in your fleet, because I don't have a way to determine, like I don't have a counter, essentially. Unless I have captains, maybe? Total captains? That's part of the world, though. That's not part of the fleet. Yeah, I don't have a way. Oh, no, here it is. Total captains. Oh, perfect. Oh, man. Sometimes I impress even myself. Sometimes. So really all I need to do is go something like player fleet total captains. And I actually probably want to make this a pointer. So that I can update it directly, and then I can just go like player fleet total captains. I should probably make a function for this because I want to do things like check and make sure that you don't exceed the bounds of the maximum number of captains you have in your fleet. So probably create a function to make sure you don't add more captains than you're allowed, or I don't know, other restrictions. It's a long to-do, but that's fine for now. I wonder if this is even going to compile. Watch, it fails. Yeah, it definitely fails. So we use triple equals. That's a JavaScript thing. We shouldn't do that. Bad. And yes, if I'm going to use a pointer, then I can't use dots. I have to use arrows. I forgot to do that. Right. Oh, that did compile. Okay. Now, I don't think I have anything in my fleet description for captains. I don't. What I do have is a JavaScript struct. It's a class. Oh, hang on. Doc, at first glance, a few things feel a little bit off, starting with naming convention and code structuring. I mean, yeah, I'm not consistent about everything. Yes. I'm not perfect, okay, Doc? Sue me. For sure, there's inconsistencies with the way that I'm doing things. Most of the time, you can see what happens here is we get down into a rabbit hole of something in order to kind of like try a few things out and see where it lands. And I don't become consistent. I don't stay consistent. We're kind of all over the place in a lot of ways. But it definitely needs cleanup. Yes. I'm open to suggestions. Hang on. Okay, so I want to make sure that Little Sparrow got added. I have some structs that I create because I have a preprocessor struct extractor, and it literally takes out all these structs that I've created in my C code and creates a JavaScript version that automatically wraps all the structs into JavaScript classes and reads the struct values straight out of the WebAssembly memory with offsets and indices so that it's really, really easy and it's as low cost as it possibly can be. Other glue things like Mscripton will do additional overhead or additional abstractions that add a cost to you accessing the memory inside of WebAssembly with JavaScript. So what I should be able to do is go. Yes, perfect. I have a struct called player, and I automatically fill the fleet, or sorry, it's a JavaScript class, and I automatically fill the fleet whatever parameter, whatever you want. I can't think of the name right now, with the memory view into WebAssembly. So then I can go captain IDs. And there's nothing here because there shouldn't be. But if I run, and then there it is. And Jack Sparrow is now part of my fleet. Now the first captain ID should be 0, so that's a bug. I'm glad I checked this. That should be 0. It should be me. But the second captain ID is indeed, we can confirm this. Did I spell that wrong? No. Oh no, it's index of. I don't know why these values don't match, to be honest with you. Why that says 12? Oh, because it's the captain ID. That's why. Oh, I see. Yeah. That makes sense. Your captain ID is not the same as your enumeration ID. That makes total sense. Okay, yes. So we're good. You're part of... Congratulations, little sparrow. You're part of my fleet. So that wasn't so bad. That was okay. This is rad. Love the hand-rolled struct.js class converter. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Good night, Laughley. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk later, but yeah, we'll talk later. Yeah, it's nice to have that because what it allows me to do is create uniform structs in here, and then I don't have to do any mapping. It just automatically maps over top using a C file, a C file preprocessor as part of my shell script. That's literally all it does. Struct extractor. And it just wraps it in JavaScript classes and digs directly into WASM memory so that there's it's basically as low cost as you can get. There's no string conversion. It's just raw numbers in and out directly into the memory slots. It figures out exactly how the memory calls should be when you're trying to figure out which portion of WebAssembly memory a particular struct and its values live in. It just figures it all out as part of the C code, and it gives me a nice easy way to just call a class, instantiate it, and then say, give me the player class for player 0, give me the NPC class for Little Sparrow, give me the captain class for Little Sparrow as a captain, and I just pass in the right IDs, and it just extracts the memory and lets me communicate with that memory directly. It's as low cost as possible. So it's super helpful. Okay, so that's good. So I have that. I am not showing it in my fleet data here. And if I go to buy a used ship, let's buy like a Hansa Cog. The Hansa Cog shows up. Cargo items are a bit weird. But yeah, I'm not showing multiple captains. So what this means is that now if I go into battle, I have 2 ships. The enemy only has 1. And that means that Little Sparrow could be the captain of one of these other. And then my second ship, Little Sparrow, who's currently not the captain, but could be the captain, takes their shot. Oh, surviving with 4. Okay. So the NPC attacked both of us, apparently. That's fine. Let me go fire another cannon. Really? Okay, it's up to Little Sparrow to finish it. There you go. We did it. Okay. So in here, what I would want to do is I would want to show all the available captains and then all the available ships from the fleet that I just destroyed. So I could go over the captain IDs over here, player.fleet.captain IDs. So I wonder, can I just check? Well, yeah, all these console logs. You can see that the only time that I have string conversion is a console log output, and that's only for debugging purposes. The rest is all numerical. Total captains. Total captains is 2. Perfect. Okay, so I can use this information to update this victory thing. So one step at a time, we can just kind of slowly, just chill, slowly update our output here. And we're going to have to go into the JavaScript side now and deal with some JavaScript. So if I go to Ocean Battle, then, well, let me see if you have... So right in here, this is what we want to do here. Why is everything in .h files? Do you adhere to OOP or some kind of DoD? I don't adhere to anything. I definitely don't adhere to OOP. All I really do is straight functions and structs or flat arrays. And it all has to be flat. With life cycles that are like short-lived, kind of like you can think of. I haven't fully implemented arena allocators, but I do have some WASM memory stuff. I have WASM arenas here, so I can implement an arena allocator. This is a bit more complex than what I need, so I might not even use this. I might just stick to some simple flat data structures and just life cycle them, except for maybe long-lived ones. I'm not sure yet. I haven't gotten that far. But everything has to be essentially from first principles, no added abstractions. I do not believe in the idea that you should cognitively reduce your load just for the sake of cognitively reducing your load, because a lot of these data structures and paradigms have a cost associated to using them. And I try my best to avoid incurring those costs. It doesn't always work, but I do what I can. So, and then the flat H file is so that I can have a single file that I can port over to anything. I can compile it to WebAssembly, but I could embed it like I have with the Bun server. I have like a Bun server here, and it has TinyCC built in because that's what Bun has. Sorry, it's over here, and I can just take that one single file and compile the entire game state code and run it off the Bun server. I can do the same thing with just my own C-based server that I've written. I just take the single header file and include it, and then I just run with it, and I just have functions that allow me to do as minute details as I would like, or in some cases even more. So I just try and keep things as simple as I can. That's really my adherence, because I want to see how far you can push it without having to bring in abstractions or paradigms, unless you really, really have to, or if you're just proving a concept, so that you can generally get the sense of what you want to do, and then you just remove the entire concept and build it by hand. Okay, so if I go back here, I probably want to do... I should break this up. Well, should I? Okay, so here's an easy thing I could do now. If I can use a string interpolation on JavaScript. Player.fleet.total captains. So I could just say, like, you have captains available. Now, it should be captains -1, because player 1 obviously doesn't count, never counts. And I should also check and make sure that captains are not currently assigned to a ship. How would I do that? I mean, we're here. Let's just kind of chill and do it. There's no particular rush. So if I go data fleet captain, and it's probably data fleet sheet. Man. Fleet ship. There you go. Captain ID. Okay. Now comes the part that I'm not sure I've thought about. All right, I see. Thanks for your reply. No problem, Doc. Feel free to ask away. And hopefully that kind of makes sense. I realize it's not consistent. I do. I get it. It's not the most consistent. I do my best. And I try and go back and clean this stuff up, off stream and whatnot, because I really want to do right by, like, I want to walk the walk. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm going to encourage programmers to think this way and learn fundamentals more and encourage them to pick up stuff that, a lot of programmers are not encouraged to pick up these days, I want to also put my money where my mouth is. Let me just take a second here. How would I determine that someone is the captain of a ship in my fleet? I think I need a function to do that. This will be interesting. Captain of fleet ID. Maybe what I could do is, let's go look at fleet for a second. Just 1 second. Let me just have a look at this. There might be an easy way to do this. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking what I should do is, in the captain struct, I add a ship ID. Like captain of ship ID. And if they are the captain of a ship, because they don't have to be, they can just be in your fleet. And sometimes they can have other roles, like they can be your bookkeeper, but that doesn't mean that they have to captain a ship. Captain of ship ID, something like this. Yeah, I think this is okay. And if captain of ship ID is null, then we know that they're not the captain of any ship in the fleet. Okay, let's see if this, let's make sure this compiles, because man, you can't trust little changes. I've had little changes like this break on the Clang compilation. And I've had them break. They've succeeded Clang compilation, but then they don't. I'm going to duplicate this. Then the game breaks. Because JavaScript WASM memory stuff can be weird sometimes. It's pretty rare, but it's happened enough. Okay, everything looks fine. All right. So then in the JavaScript, I would literally have to go grab all captain IDs. Let's just kind of hang on. Doc says, you've mentioned that you have frequent short-living entities or object-like stuff. How do you manage the deletion and insertion of these into the arena? So right now, all I do is I pre-allocate a static size of memory blocks. So I'll show you up here. It's just arrays. Oh, man, I skipped it. Here we go. So I have a bunch of constant variables like const, right? Define whatever. So max NPCs would be like 100 NPCs and so on. And then what I have is a handle system. And I ripped this off from Travis and kind of adjusted it to my own liking. Travis has a handle system too. And essentially, it's kind of a hand-rolled pointer system with its own life cycle and its own insertion and yeet methods. Mine is a bit simpler. I'm not at the point where I need to do what Travis is doing, but I essentially have a storage system which I generate out of macros. So if I go look at, let's go look at one of these. Let's go look at storage struct. So this is a macro for a storage struct. And it's just a flat array. That's it. And my max count is one of those const. So if I go max NPCs, that's what would get passed in here. It creates an array of 100, and they will reference an offset integer pointer to an array of a bunch of NPCs. And anytime that I need to remove one of them, I just remove the ID, and the NPC can kind of live in memory and then go back into memory. I tend to do this with world building. So when I go to generate world has NPCs that only live for the life cycle of the world, and then they get flushed out when you jump over to a new world, because you don't need the same NPCs as before. Let me go void generate world. So here is where I, in this case, right? This is one of the cases, but it's not the only case. In this case, anytime that I generate another world, like if I go from the port to sailing, I clear out my flat array. I just clear it all out. So if it's 100 NPCs, they're all gone. If it's 10 layers, all gone. If it's 100 entities, all gone. The entire array is gone. And then I just fill them up again when I go down into generating the actual world, and I pop them back into memory. It's the most simple way to deal with the data that I'm working with up to this point. I am prepared, should I need it, to use arena allocators. I have a simple WebAssembly memory allocator, and then I also have a WebAssembly arena thing here that I've copied from someone else, and I've made a few adjustments to it. And if I really need this, I can do that. The next step, though, is not this. The next step would be to create a set of just flat memory structures that I can kind of point to whatever I want and give them a life cycle. So the next step that I would do is just create another const up here and define like some kind of memory pool for a specific things, like I don't know, whatever, like a group of things that I would bucket in, and then I'd give it a life cycle, and then it would literally just be have a pointer, fill it up, and then when I want to clear it, just go all the way back to 0, set the pointer back to 0, and then that's it, and then fill it up again. And that's it. Just super simple, straightforward. That would be my next step. And then I could say I only want this to live for X things or X life cycle or whatever. This arena should get cleared out, put the index back to 0, and then anytime you add to it from that point onward, it's like adding something new, etc. I could have long-lived ones, whatever I want. And I could just have buckets of these arenas and pop in whatever entities I need for whatever purposes I need. And then the step after that, I think, would be, if I really need it, okay, well, then now I should bring in one of these more complicated and quote unquote complicated allocators and start dealing with memory at a more complicated level. But I'm not there yet. And I sincerely hope I don't have to get there. I'm really trying hard not to get there. Travis, like Travis Roman, I'm not sure if you came in from his channel, but I'll give him a shout out so you can see. You might not be a raider from him. Once I give you the shout out, you'll see that, there you go. That's a shout out. Travis does a lot of stuff. Well, I learned from Travis, honestly. Like, Travis is way better than I am. He does stuff with C. He builds his own 3D game engine. It's called Kohi. He does it with Vulkan. He does everything by hand. He's been working at it for years. I learned from him. There's no doubt that guy is incredible. So if you want to watch a master at work, go watch Travis. So that's what I mean by Travis. I ripped it off from him. I see. Yes, it follows. Keep as simple as possible. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And I know I'm not perfect at it. Okay, I do. I know I'm not. But I'm really trying my best because I really want to prove that it can be done. Okay. Sorry. You guys are more than, I'm more than happy to have you guys derail me. It's all good. That's kind of why it's a chill stream. Let me just have a look at what the heck I was doing again. Oh yes. Right. So in order to determine whether Little Sparrow is a captain of a ship, I would have to necessarily go, let's just pretend we knew the values, right? No, I have to run I have to run the test function. Okay, so if we knew that, how does that help us? Thanks for your intro. No, thank you for asking, Doc. I appreciate it. So we'd have to go like, no, it'd be game data captain. And well, let's go look at game data captain. Let's not guess. We have this. Let's just go look. We can figure this out. So game data captain is going to map over the data fleet captain or the data captain struct in C. Okay, I see what we got to do. So we would literally go wasm.export. So we have to pass in the wasm memory into the JavaScript class so that it knows what memory to look into, which is just the entirety of wasm. And this is I believe it's a no cost call. Yes, it's a no cost call. You're just passing a reference to the memory. So you do that, and then we could even make this simpler. We could just call wasm.exports, but in any case, it's fine. And then your input array will just be Little Sparrow's captain ID. So then we'll go Little Sparrow. Yeah, I know I can't invoke it. Little Sparrow, and then we'll go new. Now, Little Sparrow is now a captain that we can reference. And we can reference the raw memory inside of WebAssembly. We can get a pointer to it, all that good stuff. Fleet ID, yeah, that's fine. And then let's see. Name ID, player ID, world NPC ID. Okay, so we have that. Now, the change that I made is data fleet captain. So this is a little bit different. We'll say fleet, and we're just gonna go game data fleet captain. And I think it's gonna be the same thing. Let's see if this works. Boom. Awesome. And we can see if they are the captain of a ship ID. They're not. Okay, so at this point, we can check in JavaScript in here using basically the functions that we used, and those functions can be cleaned up too. This was kind of like this is a pretty roundabout way, and we are also assuming the ID here. So you know what we could do? We can just, okay, I got it. I got you. By the way, I'm using ES5 standards. I'm not even using the new standards. It's so vanilla. Everything is so vanilla. Total free captains. Yeah. And then what we'll do is go I is less than player.fleet.total captains. Yep. Except we want to skip the first one because that first one should always be player 0, like first player. It currently isn't. We'll fix that, but yeah. Okay. Then we go and we'll just grab this since we did a lot of the typing. We'll just go fleet captain. There, it's just a touch easier to see what's going on. Okay, so we'll go I, and then we go if fleet captain dot captain of ship ID. No, if it would be 0. We'll do a hard check and not make assumptions about the value because these values can get weird. JavaScript is sometimes weird about truthy falsy values. Not always, but like if you're doing 2 equals versus 3, it can be weird about it. So we'll just plus that. And then we go, you have total Free captains available. Okay. Now, if we do a nope, sorry. I want an extra ship. I don't want to do a battle without an extra ship. Let's go buy a balsa. I'm going to move my first ship over here. I have the advantage of taking the first shot. Okay, I'll take, no. I'll take the next shot. 12. Okay, then he's going to take his. Whatever, don't care. I'll take mine again. Oh, yeah, I won. Okay, let's see if this worked. You have 0 captains available. Damn it. What did we do wrong? Oh, no. What did we do wrong? Well, we can actually just run this and see. Oh, you know what we did wrong? I know what we did wrong. We never ran the test function. Son of a... See? I, too, can be a complete and utter idiot. Let's try this again. Make an attack. 16. Make another attack. 2. He's going to attack. That's fine. I attack. I win. And yeah, we have a captain available. Little Sparrow is available to take over a ship. Now, the thing is, I now have to add a second ship. I have to add a second ship to the enemy fleet. And then I have to show that there is a second ship available. I can't really... okay, let's think about this from a gameplay perspective. Put me in, coach. If I've destroyed a ship in battle, let's say there's a fleet with like 5+ ships, okay? So I have 5+ ships and the enemy has 5+ ships. Doesn't matter how many of my ships are destroyed, I have a free captain, at least one. And let's say I've destroyed 4 of the fleet ships and there's 1 left over. Obviously, we can take the 1 leftover ship and very easily make the assumption that we should be able to put Little Sparrow on that ship and bring that ship into our own fleet. However, from just a purely like user gameplay mechanic, does it make sense to have a ship that you've quote unquote destroyed be allowed to be taken over if you have a free captain? And my initial knee-jerk argument would be yes, but only if you've destroyed it by using man-to-man attacks, where you go right up against it and then you do a man-to-man attack, which we already have that here. I just didn't show it. But you have to go right up next to the ship, and then you use the sword instead of like the target thing, and it does a man-to-man attack. And then like things like morale and everything have to come into play over which person, like which ship has an advantage on the attack. I would say that if you bring the crew of a ship down to 0, then you can take it over with another captain. I would say if you brought an enemy ship down to 0 with cannons, then you've destroyed its hull. And I'm not entirely sure that you should be able to bring that ship onto your fleet. I don't know. I kind of... Make all enemy fleet ships available for putting into your own fleet, but only if you have a free captain to pilot a ship. I actually think it would make it more challenging. Because what if you want to take over... I don't have the picture up anymore. What if you want to take over the enemy fleet's captain's ship because he has some amazing ship that the rest of the captains in his fleet do not have? And so your only way to do it is to either, you can go on board and you can duel the captain. And if you win the duel, you win the battle, regardless of the state of the battle. Or you have to resort to man attacks so that you avoid cannon attacks so that you can keep the ship just enough alive so you can take it over. That would actually be kind of challenging and maybe a fun way for you to have to like worry about ships you want to take over. I think I like that. But in order to do that, we then have to go through all the ships in the enemy fleet on Victory and figure out which ones have a hull of 0 versus which ones have a crew of 0. Which means that we have to go through fleet, then so it'd have to be fleet. No, it'd be fleet ships, because I think our ocean battle data contains. Let's see here. Yeah, it contains all the fleets and fleet ships. So we would go through all the fleet ships of enemy fleets. Here. Then we would have to go get the ship ID. Then go get the data ship. Oh, get ship from fleet ship. Perfect. I've already thought ahead. Okay, so then we would have to go get the data ship. And then we would go check for crew and durability, I think. I'm pretty sure it's durability. Yeah, durability. Okay. So I'm going to pseudocode this out. So go over ocean battle fleet ships. What was the function? Get fleet ship. Get ship from fleet ship. It'd be this. Here, why don't I just do this? So it'd be this. So get the ship, and then once you have the ship, then you go check for ship.durability versus ship.crew. And essentially it would be something like, as long as, it doesn't matter if your crew went to 0, as long as ship durability, I spelt that wrong. Damn it. Is greater than 0, ship is free. And once we know that the ship is free, then we can take Little Sparrow and we can make a call to, well, no, first we'd have to make a call from, okay, so this is kind of where things get weird, because the UI is separated from the game state, right? So in the UI, you might be able to take 2 or 3 or 4 different actions all in a row, but they are actually individual things that need to happen in sequence inside of the WebAssembly, because it has to update the game state. So the first action, you would have to necessarily ensure. So we're just going to go, we'll just make a space, logical series of steps. So first of all, ensure some ship is added to player's fleet. That's the first thing we have to do. Then we set free captain as captain of ship ID. But in here, there's another step, which is we have to choose the captain that we want to captain the ship. And then somewhere in here, we have to worry about its cargo. Maybe what we'll do is, as part of the victory condition, you deal with cargo last. First, you deal with the ships and the free captains, and then you deal with cargo. That probably makes sense. at the end, deal with cargo. Okay. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That'll be nice. Then what you can do is you can cannibalize other fleets like the original game does in the Super Nintendo game, and you could take over much stronger ships by attacking the crew, and you could build up your own fleet as long as you have a captain available for it. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I like it. All right. Okay, that's it. That's it. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it here. It's been fun. I've been streaming for 2 hours. That's been a good chill, fun chat stream. I appreciate everyone hopping on in the raid from Travis and all the chit chat. It's been good. I'll work on this on the next one, which I hope to do this weekend. Because I want to get back to building out some multiplayer stuff. I have some crazy ideas for multiplayer to get that back on track so you guys can play against each other. There's like a scoreboard and everything, and it'll be fun. But I want to finish all the battle stuff because that's really the crux of the multiplayer stuff. So I'll have to work on that. So I'll do that as soon as I can. Um, okay, so that's it. I'm gonna call it here, and I will be back tomorrow. I do a daily tech news stream here, Rumble, YouTube, X, LinkedIn. I think that's it. And I cover tech news stuff, cybersecurity issues, and programming stuff. And I literally read scientific papers on like all kinds of stuff. Like, is TypeScript actually a positive? Like, does it actually save you anything? I've gone over that. I have a year's worth of content. I have an enlightened programming series, which is in a playlist on my YouTube live streams. No, sorry, it's a YouTube playlist on my channel. Actually, I already clipped all. Yeah, that's all set up. Where I go over academic stuff. It's more of like a science and academic thing about programming on all kinds of different topics and some opinion articles. The daily tech news stream is just a mishmash of daily tech news. I spend several hours a day, honestly, going over the news and coming up with themes and jokes and trying to make it a little bit entertaining. It's hard to keep up with that. And yeah, I don't have a consistent time either. So for all the new viewers, I wish I could, but I've got a family. I'm a dad and a husband, so that's hard. As a lot of you know, finding work is hard right now, even for people who are very experienced and very knowledgeable. So it's been tough to stay afloat with work. So I do my best to spend time looking for work every day and making sure that that's still going, and then spending time doing the daily tech news stream and coming up with things to work on these vibe streams and all kinds of stuff. I do my best to do what I can for the viewers. So I can't thank you enough for coming on and watching and watching me build stupid crap like this. Insane, crazy crap like this. All to prove a point. But the ultimate goal of my stream is that I really hope that you guys walk away knowing that these kinds of concepts are not that hard. You'll go and watch your favorite tech YouTube influencer with thousands of views. Not all of them are like this, but most of them are, in my opinion. And read their X posts or social media posts or whatever, and a lot of them are bought in to the abstraction mindset, and they want you to buy into it too, because what they're telling you without actually telling you is that you don't have the brain power to think for yourself. And I hope that that's the one thing that I dispel, if nothing else, on these streams. Daily tech news, enlightened programming, and this video game stream. I'm not just saying it, I'm finding the data for it, I'm doing it myself, and I often debate people with logical arguments that are based on more than just my preferences, though. Because that's what a lot of this stuff comes down to. Or anecdotal experience. Well, React worked for me, so therefore it good. That's not a real argument, right? So I try and do that because I think we're in desperate need of good programmers. We have been shipping slop and making poor decisions as an industry as a whole for 10 years now, and AI is a speed run of it. And we need to get back to some roots. So hopefully it encourages these streams encourage you to do that. Excuse me. So that's it. I'm out of here. You guys are awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I will catch you tomorrow for the Daily Tech News stream. And I will be back, hopefully in a few days, to do more of the video game stream. Peace out, folks. Hey, by the way, just before, hang on, for the new viewers, do you guys want to hear one of my AI generated songs? These things are banger. Should I play you one just as an outro, and then I'll end the stream? I swear these things are really good. Okay, I'll play you one. All right. I'll play you one as I end the stream. You guys can, yeah, it's really good. So there you go. Good night. I'll play the song. One sec. Here, let me turn down my outro music. I swear, they're not as bad as you think they are. Let me do this. Ready? Here we go. Good night, everybody. I'll play one or two songs and then I'll end the stream.
I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use AI. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I know React. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use Rust. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves AI. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves React. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves Rust. No, I am not a real programmer. I'm a LARPer who loves AI. AI makes me feel like a true programmer. 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 I have a small penis, but that's okay. I'm a real programmer. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I use AI. I have a small penis, but that's okay. I'm a real programmer. I have a small
I'll get one
penis,
more.
but that's okay, because I use AI. I have a small penis, but that's okay, because I know React.
Oh, hang on. Let me see if it's this one.
Knee deep in the prompts, feet wet, no respect check. AI vibe coders, lazy goals, no.
It's not this one. No, that's not that one. Hang on this.
Oh, vibe coder do.
No, it's not this one either. Hang on. Oh yeah, okay. I got it. All right, last one and then I'm ending. This one.
Oh, vibe coder do. Think you're hot with your AI, but your code's as limp as your game, and I'm here to say why. You're bragging about your money, but your ego's overblown. Your tech's a messy hookup, leaving chaos in its own. Your A is like your mama, sleeping round, no shame. Gobbling up the data like she's playing a dirty game. It's hallucinating nonsense, spitting lies to every dude, while you're jerking to your keyboard thinking you're the coolest brood. Your AI's a sloppy mess, just like your
I write my own lyrics, by the way, 100% no joke.
It's a scandal, no one cares. No one knows its logic, cause it's dumber than your face. Vibe coder, take a seat, you're a tech world disgrace. Vibe coder, oh, you're small in your pants and in your brain. Your AI's like your mom, gobbling wieners in the fast lane. You're proud of all your money, but your code a total flop. I'm laughing at your hustle, vibe coder, time to stop. You're stealing people's work, yeah, your AI's got no class. Like your mom at the buffet, gobbling everything that's past. It's out here faking stories, ruining lives with every click, while you're stroking your own ego, thinking you're so slick. Your tech's a black box mystery, no one knows what's up. Like your tiny little pecker, it's a secret you can't strut. It lies and says it's got it, but it's bluffing through the chat. Boy, your AI's like your mama, loose and full of crap. Your AI's a sloppy mess, just like your mom's affairs. Fake news, deep fakes, it's a scandal, no one cares. No one knows its logic, cause it's dumber than your face. Vibe coder, take a seat, you're a tech world disgrace. Vibe coder, oh, you're small in your pants and in your brain. Your AI's like your mom, gobbling wieners in the fast lane. You're proud of all your money, but your code's a total flop. I'm laughing at your hustle, vibe coder, time to stop. Let's talk about your package, yeah, it's smaller than your dreams. Can't penetrate a firewall, let alone a girl's blue jeans. Your AI's out here whoring, sleeping round with every bot, while your mom's still in the backseat, giving all she's got. You're cashing in on chaos, but your vibe's a total joke. Your code's as weak as your game, boy, your swagger's going broke. I'm spitting truth, no filter, while you're crying in your chair. Vibe coder, face the facts, your AI's a nightmare. Vibe coder, oh, you're small in your pants and in your brain. Your AI's like your mom, gobbling wieners in the fast lane. You're proud of all your money, but your code's a total flop. I'm laughing at your hustle, vibe coder, time to stop. Your AI's a hot mess, just like mama's sloppy ways. Hallucinating, manipulating, ruining people's days. I'm the queen of this takedown, and I'm roasting you for fun. Vibe coder, pack it up, your little dick and dreams are done.
That's it, folks. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. I'm ending the stream. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace out, everyone.